One of the main things I liked about it was that they said that people who want to run will be able to run or feel more confident in running now because they won't have to worry about their name being dragged through the mud. Even though that's what politicians have been doing since the beginning of time.
Yeah, Massachusetts is famous for that. It's the only one where the guy beat him down with a cane. I forget his name, Sumter or something like that.
I don't know.
He beat the other politician, the senator, with a cane. I think it was Senator, House of Representatives. Yeah, they get a little riled up.
Yep.
Wilded.
Right, wilding. Hey, wilding out there.
Wilding out there.
All right, Troop. So we only got a couple minutes left. So let me just get into this story real quick. A 12-year-old who is tired of life attempts to commit suicide. He jumps over an overpass, lands on an SUV, and kills the woman in the car. Now the boy is fighting life-threatening injuries, but what's going to happen to him if he makes it?
What's going to happen to him if he makes it? That's a real tricky one, isn't it?
He's 12 years old.
Yeah.
A Virginia woman killed when 12-year-old jumps off highway overpass. The woman, a 12-year-old boy who police said jumped off a highway overpass in an attempted suicide, took the life of a young woman instead. Marissa Harris, 22, only 22 years old.
10 years older than that guy.
Yeah, was headed eastbound on Interstate 66 near the Cedar Lane overpass at around 4:15 when the boy came crashing down on her 2005 Ford Explorer. Virginia State Police said in a statement, Harris was killed, but her 23-year-old passenger and 12-year-old boy both survived. The incident is being investigated as an attempted suicide, according to police.
You think?
True. This is one
sad.
I've been reading sad stories it's only Tuesday. But I've been reading... yesterday was full of two sad stories, too. Let me just tell you about them really quick. One of the sad stories were, both of them had to do with opioids. A father and son. One father lives in Brooklyn, New York. The son, 22 years old, lived in Baltimore. They came to Brooklyn to visit the dad for a birthday party. 3 a.m, the father and the son says, we're going to go outside for a cigarette break. Never come back. The wives and the girlfriend of the boy went outside to look, and they found them both dead of an overdose. The other story, 2 friends that grew up in the same neighborhood, lived blocks from each other, both were 18 years old, both died the same day of opioids, of an overdose.
Yeah.
And fentanyl was the drug in both cases.
Yeah.
Sad stories. They were friends, they played on the same baseball team, they were just doing drugs separately about a couple blocks from each other, and they both died on the same day.
Yeah, because, we don't fear individual death. Mm-hmm. And now we're beginning not to fear death about, well, I don't want to leave my family with the horrors of my death. We're not even fearing that anymore. At least that was a roadblock to people doing really dumb things, like the boy jumping off the... I don't know why a 12-year-old want to kill himself anyways. It's like,
Could be bullying. Another story, a 13-year-old stabbed a 33-year-old man in Worcester. That was
Worcester.
Yep, was that yesterday?
Yeah, or today or something. Yeah.
Yep.
It's rough out there. That's what it is.
Rough out there, but what, like you said, what would cause a kid to want to kill himself? And then the horrors, if he makes it, because he suffered life-threatening injuries. Yeah. So let's say he makes it and he makes a full recovery. He's going to have to answer for that woman that he killed. That's going to be with him for the rest of his life. Yeah, you want to talk about wanting to commit suicide? Now he has a real reason to want to.
Oh, he's going to have more reason to want to, too. I just feel a little bit cynical on this here. The growth plate at 12 years old, he probably broke up a whole lot of that growth plate. He's not going to grow like he was.
Yep.
He's not going to be the person that he was meant to be. And that's sad. And his mind is going to be really in a lot of hurt because he took a life.
Yep, he did.
And I'm sure he didn't want to take a life. He just wanted to take his life for whatever reason. I don't know. Bullying is a big thing. People, and it's like, it's been around forever and it's something that hasn't really been addressed.
Hasn't.
No.
I that to me this story was kind of tough too because the woman she was 22 years old, she was beautiful, and she looked like she had her whole life ahead of her.
She did.
And
I didn't know what she looked like, but 23 got your whole life ahead of you. Except in America, we're pretending. We lie to ourselves. It's amazing how people say, I don't lie. And you go to church, and in the Catholic Church, you go to the confessional, and you say to the priest, well, it's been so long since my last confession, and I've done this, and I've done that. But they never say that I lied. And people are lying to themselves all the time. They're still lying. You're just lying to yourself.
right.
And not just lying to yourselves in the form of, well, I really didn't think about that. No, you're physically lying to yourself.
Yep.
You just, yeah, I'm a good person. Okay, I'm gonna do this drug right here because I want to. But it's all right. It'll be all right because I'm still a good person. You're lying to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know who else is going to be suffering in this because the woman wasn't the only person in the car.
Yeah.
She had a 23-year-old passenger in the car too. And what it says is that the car's passenger, after the man landed on it, steered the vehicle off. The boy landed on it.
Yeah.
Yep. The passenger steered the car off of the interstate, and it came to stop on the left shoulder against a Jersey wall.
Yeah.
So the boy landed on the car. The first instinct is to get the car off the highway because you're going to hit a whole bunch of other cars. So the passenger grabs the wheel and turns it, and then it just runs straight into a wall and kills the driver. Terrible story.
Yeah, that is a terrible story. And actually, I hope that all the kids out there take a lesson from this. Life, live it first. You're not old enough to have that many sorrows in it. You're never old enough to have that many sorrows in it. You know? It's your life. So create it the way you want it to be. Don't create it the way somebody else wants it to be. Create it the way you want it to be. And find your heroes not in comic books and stuff like that, but find your heroes someplace else. But if you're going to go into comic books, that's all right too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but don't give up on yourself before you even recognize who you are.
Right.
You know, 12 years old, how do you know? You don't know who you are. You're just learning about the other things that's available to you in life, things of interest and stuff. Could have been, and bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Bullying is just like it. They call it politics when it gets older, I guess it was. But it's just the same. You get bullied and everything? Tell your folks. Tell the teacher. Then, if you're still getting bullied, sign up for a karate class. Come back and beat the dog snot out those rascals.
Right.
You know,
so the passenger was the girl's boyfriend, the driver's boyfriend.
yeah.
Yep. And now, the passenger was not injured. The boyfriend was not injured at all. The boy that landed on the car, he has life-threatening injuries. The driver passed away. The boyfriend is okay. But now the boyfriend has to live with that for the rest of his life, too.
Oh,
They said he's shaken up, and he'll probably never be the same again.
He may never be that. That's some kind of trauma that's going to always be in the back of his mind, even 30 years from now. But I hope the boyfriend can find it in his heart not to fill his heart up with all the darkness of revenge or the darkness of anything, or be mean towards another race or anything like that. You know, I hope he can find it in his heart, mostly for himself, because that's the heaviest burden that he'll be carrying around. Hate hurts. It's real heavy, you know, so you don't want to carry that around with you. It seems like it's a game everybody's playing now to carry it around with you, but really, it's real heavy.
And a similar story to this, not the same exact thing. 4 teenagers were arrested for throwing rocks over an overpass that ended up killing a passenger in a car too.
Stone them.
They are going to, their lives are ruined too.
Of course it is.
To me, it's really emotional driven when the lives get ruined with stupid stuff like this.
Yeah, and we can't just sit around and just point blame after that. Well, where's their parents and why weren't they in school, or why is this happening, and all these kind of whys. We should ask those questions why, because but we already got a good amount of information about why those questions. Some of this stuff isn't new. The incident might be new, but it's not new. We had some years back, a group of girls all decided that they were going to kill themselves together or something like that. Some suicide pact.
Oh yeah, the suicide pact. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't new. You know?
Yep, it is.
And it's not being addressed. It's just like every other thing. We run out there and make our little noises, and we make our little petitions, and then we go back and we don't do anything about it. We don't act to change anything.
Yep.
Because we don't think we can. That's the whole thing. We don't think we have enough power that we can change anything, and I think that starts inside the schools. There's a lot of kids in school who don't feel included.
Yep.
You know, they might be just genius kids in there, and they're shy.
Right.
So they don't feel included. So they sit back and they don't. And that lets somebody who has low confidence in themselves and everything, but got a big mouth, they take over the whole class.
Yep.
You know, and then nothing gets done.
Right. So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered in this case, and we probably won't find out until the 12-year-old boy comes of age, and this will probably be an old story by then. Texter Kenneth the W man says, this 12-year-old who attempted suicide should be locked up for society's sake when and if he recovers. He's a danger to society, not just to himself. Maybe his parents or siblings have abused him or others. As a minor, if they exist, should be sued by the victims of the car.
That's a whole lot of legal kind of stuff going in there. I don't think locking up this boy is going to make it. I think this boy's going to find out the different life that he's going to have to lead now, and that's going to be a whole lot of trauma for him. There should be some kind of penalty for him to pay, and his families. I think there's a lot of families out there. There needs to be some training for families.
Yes.
Just because you can get pregnant and have kids doesn't mean that you should be having families.
Right.
They're not raising them.
Nope.
You know, there's so much fear. It's just like, well, I don't want to go into that.
Well,
you know,
go ahead.
Just a little bit. You know, like with the hydrogen bomb.
Yep.
And the atom bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And all these other bombs, and how we're talking all this war talk with Korea and then all these people like this here. If in reality, if anyone blows up a bomb, it's suicide.
Right.
The whole world is affected by it, and everybody dies.
Yep.
You know, it's like, you can make all the big noises you want about all these things like this, but if you don't do something proactive on these things, then nothing changes. This kid, putting him in jail, locking him up and all this stuff like this, that's not proactive. It does nothing. He wanted to kill himself.
Right.
So, it's like, okay, what are you doing? Protecting him so he doesn't kill himself? He's not the biggest menace for that kid is the kid himself. That's the one he's menacing the most.
Yeah.
You know, even though the lady died, and that's a tragedy, and that's a terrible thing like this, but I'm sure that the kid, I didn't plan on killing anybody or taking somebody with him.
Right.
You know?
So
his little brain probably thought, I'll hit the ground and then the cars will run me over.
Right.
You know? It was all about him. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that's all we got for today. It is 11 o'clock, which means it's time for us to prepare for Voice of the Voiceless, which comes on 12 to 1 p.m. on WCUW 91.3 FM. We will have a guest in the building. We're going to be discussing a couple things, and we look forward to it. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys tomorrow, definitely. Mm-hmm. Trooper Joe will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. from 3 to 4 p.m. on Archangel, A Return to Chivalry. www.blogtalkradio.com/Archangel, A Return to Chivalry. And that's it. We'll see you guys on Voice of the Voiceless.
And chivalry for an archangel isn't those little itty bitty, soft, cuddly little angels with the little wings and stuff. They carry flaming swords, folks.
Okay. A texter says that the boy needs some consequences.
He does need consequences. I agree. There has to be consequences for his actions, but the consequences really have to fit the underlying meaning of the crime. The boy needs help, and he needs consequences. He cannot get out of this unscathed, and he has to receive some help because there's something inside that boy's mind that's not functioning right.
Well, sometimes what happens is consequences enough. He's going to know for the rest of his life that he killed a person.
Yeah.
That could be big enough consequence.
That could be.
All right. Well, unfortunately, we have to end here. Troop, we will see you guys tomorrow. Troop.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments. And
Yeah, y'all had that